Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Brothers Take. I know you are probably a bit confused because you're thinking, it sounds like Chris, but it doesn't look like Chris. Well, for people watching this on YouTube, because you can, of course, listen to us on other platforms as well, such as Spotify and Apple Podcasts and any of those other ones that exist that I'm not aware of because I'm not up to date on all the techie whiz as much as Chris is. Does Chris ever
Uh,
tell you that Chris is is a techie?
Absolutely not.
Because that is who's joined me for this episode as well. It is Chris McGuire, my brother,
Hello, everybody.
and Adam is recovering from his travels. He is back, but he's as Adam usually is. He's a bit kind of under the weather. He'll be back with us for probably the next episode. So just for this
Hey,
episode, it's just going to be two of us again. So if you are wanting to follow us, hit the subscribe, click that link button, ring the bell that does the thing, do that on YouTube, or you can follow us on the Spotify's and again the Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. If you ever want to touch base with us, be like, hey, that was an interesting episode. Hey, that new guy, he should probably stop talking because this is a really long intro. You could do that by touching base with us on Instagram, Facebook, X. Use at the Brothers Take, and that's where you can contact us. Or, of course, if you don't want to bother go through that channels, again, we're on YouTube. You can just put it in the comment to be like, hey, shut up and get on with it.
Yes, get on with it!
And that's what we're going to do. We're going to get on with it.
what are we talking about?
What are we talking about, Chris? Well, I'm glad you asked.
Hmm.
What we're talking about today is, well, considering we had the Summer Game Fest, Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest, which then came on to Xbox, and there was the Future Games. Is that a thing? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, there was loads of stuff.
Future, and we had the Ubisoft, we had all those. We're kind of coming off of that because there were some other things that were kind of announced in like the after shows or kind of like the next day and stuff that we just never really got around to talking about. So for this episode, we're going to talk about that stuff. So the first thing I think I want to bring up is, well, I mean, I think what we talked about the Summer Game Fest and we talked about Xbox, and I think there was another interview with Jeff Keighley, wasn't there? I think you shared it with me about the
Uh,
handheld
oh
device
no,
or
Phil
poss
Spencer.
Phil Spencer. What did I say?
Yeah, you said Jeff Keighley. Phil Spencer
My apologies, Phil
of
Spencer.
Xbox, yeah, did an interview. The full interview is maybe 28 minutes, and most of it is him, like basically them, the whole crowd going wild because, I mean, I've had a bit of time to think about it. I I don't think I'm being hyperbolic by saying I think the Xbox showcase was not only the best Xbox showcase, it is one of the best games showcases ever. One of. I'm not saying it's the best, I'm saying one of. Because it was nearly hit after hit. There was no low points.
Hmm.
Like it was absolutely spectacular, regardless of whether you have an Xbox or not, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Um so he was like real chuffed and happy, and there was lots to talk about. The clip I shared with you because I was like, this might be interesting and worth bringing up, is at the very end of it. Ryan McCaffrey, who was the interviewer, asked about the rumors that are going around about an Xbox handheld device,
Yes.
and I thought it was very interesting the way in which Phil answered those questions.
Yeah, well, he doesn't. Right. Okay. So this is the thing about the clip that you sent me had a very what I would say clickbaity. Well, I mean, they all do this now, don't they? Where it's
Mm,
like Xbox practically big capital letters announces handheld device.
right.
Now, to me, I'm looking at it and going, right, he's not straight up denying it,
True.
but he's also not saying it's on our radar or we're working on something or it has like, it's crossed our mind. So I'm like,
Okay.
he's also not practically saying it is a thing.
I, I,
Because
I
I mean,
yeah,
Xbox is part of Microsoft, which
yeah.
has, I suppose, a deal with Steam, maybe, and there is the Steam Deck. So,
I felt he practically announced
oh,
it.
did you? Okay.
I felt he did from the interview. Yeah, I felt the way he said it. Um, like when they asked him about it, and yes, he didn't straight up deny it. Which, if there's not going to be one, he should, because otherwise he's going to add more backlash to them in the future, right?
Right.
He's just come off like a good hype. They're on a good message train at the moment. In
Which is
terms of like,
great to hear.
I imagine their Game Pass subscriptions are going to go up now after that showcase. To be honest, because people are like, "Holy shit, there's so much stuff coming to that," you know. Um, the fact that his answer to the question was, "The future of Xbox hardware is very exciting." So like he said, he didn't say yes, we are doing one, right? But he said you'll have to talk to Sarah Bond about that, which wasn't
Right. Okay.
like, first of all, why, like that'd be like throwing her in the deep end if there isn't one, right?
Right. Okay.
And then, he was asked, hypothetically, if there was one, would it play games like natively on the machine, or would it be something like the PS Portal where it's just remote play and you have to play over cloud or whatever? And he laughed about it and he said, well, hypothetically, he said, I think you should be able to play games locally.
So,
I mean, I don't know. Like, to me, it came across very strongly as, read between the lines. Yes, we are working on one. What I'm curious about is it going to be a secondary, like the equivalent of a PSP type thing where it's like you get this as a secondary console to your, or are they taking a bit of inspiration from the Switch and stuff? And is it going to be that the next Xbox is called something like the Xbox Go, and it's this handheld device that plays locally, and then you plug it into your TV, and like you can play Game Pass on it, and that's the next Xbox console. That's
that
what I
would
wonder
be
if that's what they're working on.
that would be very cool. Very powerful graphics card, very powerful processing.
Yeah,
Possibly doable with this, considering the Steam Deck is pretty cool. I've seen that actually.
yeah, like
Make that work.
they
It's
have
pretty
the
good.
Microsoft tech, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it is
It
possible.
is absolutely possible.
So I don't know. I felt, now, unless, I mean, if after like trials and shit, it absolutely flops and they can't do it and it never happens, then yes, it'll be one of those things like, Xbox promised us a handheld, and it'll be like, I never actually said it.
Yeah.
And it'll be one of these back and forth things.
Well,
So
that's why
it's not 100% confirmed.
right. So I think that's the part where it's the big capital writing that says
Yeah,
practically.
yeah.
So it's like he's not right. So if they do one, great, awesome. I'm sure lots of people will be excited, especially if it works, right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes these things don't really sell as well. And then if they don't, people would be like, "Well, hold on now. I remember you saying that you were going to do it, but actually it was just capital writing practically." So it's like those phrasing of titles
hmm
probably get people and companies into more trouble than they ever actually do.
Yeah,
Like with
no,
this
that,
stuff.
I mean, you are right. Like, that is true. And and as well, Xbox have in the past, like, yeah, there's big hype at the moment and it is very exciting, but people have to remember as well, like, there's been some really shit news from Xbox too this year. And not
Right.
just this year, last year too. Like there was an Xbox showcase before where they said every game we've shown is coming out in the next 12 months. And everyone got really fucking excited, and that did not happen. Actually, barely any of those games came out in the next 12 months after that point. I think Replaced was one of those games. There was
Well, I think
loads of.
Replace has a reason.
No,
I
it
think
does.
Replace has a pretty good reason not to, but yeah.
It does, and I'm not saying that's the fault of Replaced. I'm saying the messaging from Xbox,
Hmm.
like, to commit to a message that then they fell true on. So like you do, like, sometimes, yes, they make promises that they don't keep. So like it is like you can get caught up in the excitement of it, but you do also have to take some of these things with a pinch of salt until it is like 100%
Percent
confirmed.
confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I suppose that's probably why he didn't um
Yeah,
like
like he didn't actually say yes, we're doing it.
yeah. So if they are doing it, he's not giving any promises because they probably learned from the past. Don't give promises if you
Yeah.
can't keep. Yeah, yeah.
But I think he
Which
also
is
was like, what I got from him was that they are definitely working on one.
right. I
And
wouldn't be surprised.
maybe it'll never see the light of day, maybe it won't work or whatever, right? What I got, because with him responding to the question, going, it's very exciting, the hardware that we're working on, right? So what I got from it is they are definitely working on one. and that he is so hyped after everyone's buzz from the showcase that he can't help but be a bit like mischievous and kind of give it away a little bit.
Right.
But it doesn't mean we will definitely see it. But I hope we do. If it can play the games natively, if you can have Game Pass on a handheld machine and download the game straight to the machine, and it can run like Unreal Engine 5 graphics, that thing, it'll be fucking awesome.
Would you get it?
100%.
100%.
Well,
You would
like
get this.
one of my dream, like if the PlayStation Portal, which I didn't get, if that played games, even if it couldn't run PS5, even if it could only run PS4, say, right? Even if we're
Hmm.
only talking about last gen, if that thing could play games natively, as in download and play on that thing on the go,
Hmm.
I would have bought that immediately. I
What
would
would you?
love that.
What would have? Right. Just I have two questions, but with the PS, let's say you had the PlayStation P4 or 3, right? PlayStation
Sure.
Portable 2.0, and it was playing PS4 games and whatnot natively.
Yeah.
What would have been the first game you would have tried on
Uh, Probably Final Fantasy VII Remake.
it?
Probably
just,
like playing that bombing
just get
run.
that on everything.
Well,
That
yeah,
your Skyrim, is it?
yeah, 100%. But I'm glad that we were able to mention Skyrim again. But yeah, like I'm trying to think of. There's been many games I would play on it, but in terms of booting it up for the first time to see how well, I think you
Hmm.
would want to try a game that you know very well,
Hmm.
so that you can determine how well it's actually running the machine, like running the games.
Hmm.
And if it can run like the opening to Final Fantasy VII Remake and the bombing run, all that spectacle, all that action, all the music, all the cutscenes, if it can do all of the opening to Final Fantasy VII Remake
Hmm.
well, you're like, this machine's awesome. You know, like to me that would be how you review that thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, okay, so my second question was if Xbox,
Yeah.
it's almost the same question, right?
Yeah, sure.
What would be the first thing that you would play then on an Xbox handheld?
I think at the moment, there's lots of Xbox games to come now, that so that answer could change. So there's
Hmm.
lots of excitement things coming. But at the moment, it would be Hellblade 2.
Right.
Um, which I have finished. I'm gonna save the review for another time.
The review for another time. Okay, that's no problem.
Um, from a visual and audio and technical standpoint, like the game is just fucking stunning. Um, so like if I had a handheld that was running that well, I'd be like, wow, this thing is capable of all these things. So yeah,
So right, that's it's solidified then. Xbox now needs to make a handheld device for you to play Hellblade 2
on the go. Yeah,
on the go, and PlayStation absolutely needs to make the
they
PlayStation Portable 2.0
100% have to. Yeah, like
so Chris could play
but the
Final
whole
Fantasy
thing of
Remake.
like the PlayStation Portal being that you can cloud stream, like, or you can remote play
Hmm.
on the device so long as you're in the same house with the internet connection with the PS. You know what I mean? Like the PS5 is right there. I think it's supposed to be if you've like if you want to play, but the other person in the house wants to use the TV, right?
Hmm.
Which, okay, that's very very specific need for this designed thing. And it's like, why not go that step further and design something that can play games on it, so that
Hmm.
it's also a device that will see like people bringing it on airplanes with them and trains with them and buses with them, and like
Yeah, because it seems
that would
very
be the
much
dream. Like,
it seems very much like a thing more like the target to me almost seems like it's teenagers. They can't get the
okay,
TV because the parents are on the TV, so now they
right,
have to play it like on the portal thing.
yeah,
It's not really this, but like, yeah, I think it would appeal to far more audience
mm-hmm.
if you can play it in the house and, as you said, on a train, on an airplane, in a hotel room, on the road,
Yeah.
on
Well,
horseback. Why not?
my theory is that the if it all pans out, that the next Xbox console, not as a secondary thing. The actual console. I'm calling now. It's going to be called the Xbox Go. That's my theory on what it's going to be called. Right? It sounds like something they would do, and they have no naming scheme for their consoles anyway. So it's not
No.
like, you know what I mean. It'll be a handheld device that runs the games natively. You can play on the go, but you can then it comes with a HDMI cable. You can plug it into a TV and connect your a controller to it as well. And therefore, it becomes this thing, because their whole message has been, we want to bring the games to the gamers. Play wherever you want, on PC, on console. They're after bring Game Pass as an app on certain Samsung TVs. So to me, like, their future is, like, bring this with you anywhere. Like, bring it on planes, on trains. When you go to a hotel, plug it into the hotel TV and play. You know, and then bring it home, plug it into your home screen. That's what I think they're going to aim for. And I think if they make that, and if it works, it will fly off the shelves.
Why is that more appealing? Well, I suppose maybe it's just the games, isn't it? It's Game Pass. Because I was about to ask, why is that more appealing than what Switch was? But I suppose,
Yeah, it's kind of a slightly different demographic, right? It's like, not that Xbox doesn't have family-friendly games, but the Nintendo is definitely leaning more towards the family-friendly
right?
aspect.
Like you're not getting Gears of War on your fucking Nintendo console.
Right. But imagine being able to play Gears of War on the go. Like, as in, you're in the middle of Gears, right? You've been playing it on your big TV, because that's the way you want to experience it. You're fucking loving it. And then you have to go somewhere. Maybe you're, like, traveling up to Dublin or something, right? Say, for us. You continue to play it on the bus from where you left off. You get up to where you're going. Wherever you're staying, you plug it back into the next TV and you continue from where you left off. And you don't have to wait till you get back home to continue the game that you're already into. That's the kind of vision. Again, this is all speculation, but that's sort of
All speculation. No. It's,
the vision
I
of the
said
game.
it practically.
It's
big
practically
capital letters.
confirmed now.
Practically confirmed now. That's it.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, is that something you'd have any interest in? Would you love to see PlayStation do something like that?
I'd be up for both of them doing it, but yeah, I think if Xbox did it and it was doing well, and then you have Nintendo doing it, then yes, I think PlayStation should do it too.
We're also going to see a Switch 2. I don't know if that's going to be the name of it, but the Switch successor will be revealed, like, within the next year.
Is that confirmed? Is that your
That
weird?
is confirmed.
Okay, right. It's not some
That
your
is
weird
confirmed.
fucking
No,
oracle prophesizing stuff that you do.
Well, like, but it is going to be. Like, fucking trust me on that. No, there's supposed to be a Nintendo Direct this June, right? This month,
Okay.
at some point, right? And one of the, like, big guys at Nintendo, I can't remember his name and I can't remember his position, but he put out a messaging, and I suppose it was to level the speculation, right? He said there will be a Nintendo Direct this June. We will not be showcasing the successor to the Switch at this Nintendo Direct, but that will come soon.
Oh, okay, right.
Right? He said, but this will be focused on our games for the Switch.
Right.
So obviously they're kind of their final lap of Switch games before the Switch 2, which I imagine is coming next year.
Right. Oh, yeah. That confirms.
Like, that
it.
lines up, right?
Yeah, that line. Yeah.
No. It practically confirms.
Practically confirms it. Big capital writing practically confirms it.
Yeah. So there could be a really cool.
If you
future
pre-order that
handheld
successor,
devices.
you get a hat.
Rumor was that the Switch 2, some people got behind the scenes to have a try it, like a demo version of it, and that they got to play. Do you remember, like, the Matrix tech demo thing?
That Unreal Engine
Matrix
thing?
Awakens? Yeah. Apparently it ran that.
Fuck.
So the Switch successor could be something to really... Because I think one place where the Switch is getting left behind is that its machine, as fucking amazing as the design was and revolutionary as it was, and, like, how cool is it, it isn't powerful enough to run these top-end games that are flying off the shelves. So the key would be, well, keep all the functions of what it does, because why would you not do that, but make it more powerful so that it can actually... So eventually we get to a point where a big game is coming out and it releases on all three consoles, not just the other two.
Ooh.
Like that'd be.
What was
Yeah.
the point of that tech demo actually?
It was basically just to show off Unreal
The
Engine
Unreal.
5, and then also at the same time to kind of re-hype the Matrix universe coinciding with the movie. I don't think it meant anything else.
Yeah, remember that movie?
I try not to. Yeah,
Yeah. All
yeah,
right. Well, yeah. So that. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's forget about that movie. Actually, that was a dampener. Let's not think about that. But
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it would be cool. It would be cool for them to do the handheld stuff. But then there was other. I think the next day, wasn't it? There was Xbox was on for us last Sunday.
It
Wasn't
was
it? It was
yeah, it was on Sunday the 9th of June. Yeah,
Sunday 9th of June, and then during that showcase, did they show a teaser trailer for Assassin's Creed Shadows?
they did. Yeah,
And then Ubisoft did the full gameplay one
at the
at their
Ubisoft
showcase.
Forward. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the next thing. Again, this whole discussion is about these particular things that we didn't get discussed about in the last two episodes. So this is another thing where this was sort of on our radars from the announcement trailer. We talked about this, and then we saw a trailer at the Xbox One,
Hmm.
so we talked about it again, and now we've actually seen gameplay. I mean, we
Yes.
love Ghost of Tsushima, and so we were like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
fucking. I mean, they gave us Assassin's Creed. Sucker Punch did before Assassin's Creed Samurai game. But now that we've seen it, are you now like super awesome? Give me that, or are you like, nope, that looks like a load of crap? What was your opinion? Because I think you watched the full Ubisoft thing, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, yeah. I
I
watched the
only
whole
watched a
thing,
few things, so yeah,
and part of me
okay,
was hoping that we'd get a Splinter Cell remake
that would have been tasty.
in there somewhere. I feel like one's in the works. Again, this is my little prophet thing going on. I think there's one
Yeah,
in the works, right?
yeah.
In the next year, we will hear of a Splinter Cell remake. I need to start taking note of all these, and when I'm right, I'll be like, I fucking told you.
On this fucking date at this
On
time, I
this
told
day,
you.
on this time, Assassin's Creed Shadows. I still the most exciting Assassin's Creed for me in since the first one. Um, for me personally.
That's how much of a fan Chris is of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, it just never gelled with me. Like I totally get the appeal. I get why it's so popular. It's not one of those ones where I'm like, why is that series so popular? I
Hmm.
fully get it. It just never gelled with me. And I'm in kind of two minds of it after seeing more of the gameplay. Where it's like, I think Yasuke is a super interesting character, especially because he's a historical figure.
Hmm.
But I was bored watching his gameplay.
I felt the same. I thought his gameplay was quite. It was I know that they're going for like he's a strong sort of tank like character,
Yeah,
but it's like you're making him too tanky. Like he's actually too boring to watch.
yeah. It was even just the way he walked around the town. Everything just
Hmm.
seemed so incredibly slow. Now, maybe again, sometimes it's different when you're watching these things. Sometimes it's like, put it in my hands and I'll enjoy it more. But watching someone else do it isn't
Hmm.
always fun. Um,
And then he wasn't really using the katana either. So was he slow because he was using the
yeah, like
Shinobo as well?
yeah, yeah. But I did like the black and white kills and stuff, and I was because we were wondering was that just a trailer stylized thing or was that actually in the game? So it's cool to see that is a feature in the game. It's obviously very Ghost of Tsushima inspired. Even
Yes.
like some of the UI, like there was little dots on the bottom of the screen that kind of looked like Ghost of Tsushima kind of quick kills and stuff.
Hmm.
Some of the animations, but I don't see that as a problem. I see that as a look at Ghost of Tsushima got there first and they wrote the book on how to do a badass like
Samurai game.
samurai feudal
Yeah.
Japan game. So like why like if you steer too far away from that, all you're going to do is make a lesser game. So
Hmm.
you might as well pick up some of the things that they did well. Like even some of the foliage and stuff that was moving looked very Ghost of Tsushima like, and that's cool because it makes you feel like you're in Japan maybe. But I thought Naue, is that how her name is pronounced?
Something like that now, eh? Something like that.
That's when I got excited watching her gameplay and feeling more like
Yes.
a stealthy assassin. That I'm more into that.
Yes, I thought her gameplay was really cool. Now, I did think it was a good thing that they said it, this game was a work in progress
Hmm.
because sometimes it looked a bit kind of janky
Yeah,
or looked a bit sort of stuttery and slow. But when it got to hers, her gameplay was just so fast, fluid. She was using all these cool tactics and techniques and weaponry. And I loved it when she was sneaking up on the person she was going to kill. And she was
Hmm.
like climbing through the water. And then there's a point where they stopped and she took out a reed to breathe.
Yeah,
Like she had the reed
yeah.
thing around. I
It's a
was
cool
like,
detail.
that's a really cool fucking detail. And the fact that when you were choosing the two characters, that actually differs how the missions played out.
Yeah, and I do like that they highlighted something that maybe I haven't seen in Assassin's Creed in a while. It probably is always present, but I just think they re-highlighted it here, which is the whole kill the target and get out thing.
Mm,
It's not your job to kill everybody, you know?
yes.
It's get in, if someone's in your way, yes, take them out, but ultimately get to the target, kill the target, flee. There used to be a big, I remember in Assassin's Creed 1, you'd kill the target, and then there'd be a whole thing of almost GTA like, where you have to escape your 5 stars until
Mm,
things calm down again, and that's when you have successfily completed the sort of the mission in a way.
assassination. Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that used to have that. I
they kind of
think
highlighted that here, I thought.
Assassin's Creed 2 might have had that sometimes. I think
Hmm.
it was like your notoriety would go up in Assassin's Creed 2.
Yeah, well, I think
And that
that's a
one,
cool feature. It's very GTA like in terms of like being most wanted.
yeah, I think so. I am looking forward to this. I think this does look like one of the best Assassin's Creed they've done in a while.
Hmm.
It looks a little bit more like somewhat going back to the roots, as you stated, killing them and then just moving on.
Yeah,
The black and white was very cool. That was
very
very
cool.
tasty, very tasty. And yeah, I think hopefully this is a good game.
Oh God, I hope so. It does look it. Um so far I'm not immediately it's not an immediate day one purchase for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of my hesitancy with Assassin's Creed in general.
Yeah,
Because
that's fair.
I tend not to finish them. I tend to get bored of them. Um, but depending on like if we keep like what I'm seeing is good. So if I keep seeing more and it's all good, and then if as we're getting closer to it, like there's like the review talks is all very high, and that could absolutely sway me. Or it might be something that I decide to get later. Because it's not one where I'd be like, oh God, don't spoil the story on me. Like I'm not that um high on it, you know what I mean? But I
Mhm.
do think it looks really good.
I do. Another thing actually I like about this trailer is, as I stated, like it didn't run smoothly,
Yeah.
which I can imagine some people be like, "Oh, this looks like a load of crap." But like in the past, Ubisoft used to have trailers that used to look fantastic. Like their
Hmm.
gameplay trailers used to be like, "Wow, that looks like the best thing ever." Do you remember the gameplay trailer to The Division?
Yes, it looked like the best game ever. And conceptually even it was like, wow, like multiplayer with your friends and it's all story mode as well, like which is something that a lot of games have tried to do, but they never quite get it, I don't think.
And graphically, it looks so cool, and the
Yeah.
physics, and then you get the game, and it's just not that. Not
Right.
really. It is, but it's graphically not the same, and gameplay playing is it's there, but
Yeah.
it's not like what they showcased.
Yeah.
That's the nice thing about this one is this is a work in progress, which means this isn't the finished project. We are working to make it look better. So
It,
if you
it
like the look of it now,
yeah. It
it's gonna get
felt
better.
like a more I
Oh,
thought it felt like a very honest presentation of
mm,
this is actually the game. Not we're not trying to lie to you or sugarcoat it or like fool you into thinking the game is one thing and not like I actually and I thought that of a lot of I watched the whole Ubisoft Forward.
mm,
Not everything would appeal again, but I actually thought as a showcase it was quite strong. It felt a little bit like an E3 showcase with some live
mm.
aspects and stuff. And yeah, I thought they were being very honest and open with the games they were showing. And then, therefore, it's like if you were into it, you're into it, and if you're not, you're not, and that's okay. You mentioned the Division. Am I wrong in saying that the Division team are the ones making that Star Wars Outlaws game?
Oh, I don't know.
I want to
I
look
don't
that
know
up.
that, but I'm glad you mentioned that game because I was going to bring that up as well because that was I think there was a trailer at the Xbox one and then there was gameplay at the Ubisoft one. Am I correct there?
This trailer at Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest.
Sorry, the Jeff
It's
Keighley's right.
hard, like, to be honest, it's all, like, all of it is part of Summer Game Fest
Yes,
as a
true. Yeah,
whole,
yeah.
to be honest, but yeah.
Yes, and then so yes. What did you think of that then? The gameplay to the Outlaws.
I was more impressed than I thought I was going to be.
Same.
Because I had totally written this game off as I have zero interest
Hmm.
in. And after watching the gameplay, again, I'm not saying it's like oh, I'm in day one, let's go, but um, but I was impressed with what I saw. I actually thought some of it looked very good. I like that it's borrowing elements from lots of different games.
Mm-hmm.
I thought visually it looked good, and I kind of liked I got Mass Effect vibes in it.
Interesting.
Um, and I think that's from I don't think it's going to be like Mass Effect. Oh, and yeah, it is the Division developers are the guys making Star Wars Outlaws.
Oh, cool.
Um, like I don't think it's going to be like Mass Effect, but in terms of the setup that you are looking for these experts, that's the
Oh, that
premise.
thing.
It reminded me of Mass Effect 2. Like go look for, and then each one itself is a mission. And I don't know, does that mean are they going to join you? Like, does it become like you're building a team of like, is it like
Well, it's
Magnificent Seven in space type thing?
I would
That's cool.
absolutely love that because her ship is very big.
Yeah.
That and it looked like there was lots of corridors and ladder and stuff, and I like the fact that you just freely walk into the ship. You freely walk up to your cockpit and you freely get to fly and get out of there. But it just looked like such a big ship that it's like there's no way there's just like those two characters, not Space Dog. Like surely we're getting other characters here.
And surely they take different positions on the ship, and surely you can go in between missions and talk to them on the ship, right? Like
Right, that's
I
what
would expect so as well. Yeah.
yeah, and then even the space combat looked so
I
I
look like
would
Starfield.
that reminded me of Starfield or even of a lot of, to be honest, a lot of different space games that
Yeah.
they play like that, and to even include that was very good. So like you're starting in that kind of scoundrel, shifty alley place with all the different people.
Hmm.
It looks like you can interact with loads.
Yeah.
To then go into that ship, to then do space combat, to then hyperspace to Tatooine, to then actually show multiple locations in Tatooine that you can go to, which I'm just like, thank God. Thank God they're doing that
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
these are entire planets. So surely they're going to be more populated than that one location that they've shown in the movies. So yeah, I was also very pleasantly surprised by this. And
I think
even
it's a breath of fresh air as well. Um, not that, I mean, yeah, look, at everyone loves Jedi and Sith and lightsabers and the Force, and it's one of the first things to think of with Star Wars. But it is a breath of fresh air that there's a game being made that's not Jedi focused,
mm,
and that's focusing on another key aspect of the Star Wars universe that's always been there too,
been
which
there
is
since episode 4. Yeah.
yeah, the whole scoundrels, the underground, the outer rim kind of planets and stuff, and the crime rings that go on in the Star Wars universe. Um, and yeah,
And
there apparently you can build up kind of like we were talking about with the Assassin's Creed thing. Like you can build up notoriety in this universe, and stormtroopers will be hunting you and looking for you, and that's
yeah,
kind of
and
cool too.
that's really cool. And then you can build up reputation. So depending on your actions, you can build up reputation with particular gangs and stuff like that. So it looks like there's a lot of thought put into it. So I just hope it pays off.
Yeah. How much you
Uh,
betting this game is going to be broken as fuck when it releases? Because it's
uh,
so expansive, and I don't. I'm not trying to talk them down or anything. I see this as a. I have a feeling that this has the potential to be, um, the Hogwarts legacy of this year. What I mean by that is you have a massive dedicated fan base. You have sort of a dream game in that world of
mm,
all the different things you can do. So much gameplay, and it'll probably be the most bought game. Like Hogwarts Legacy was the most bought game last year. It was the highest selling game of the year because it was,
oh, okay.
it was massive. Like it was so popular, and I think Star Wars Outlaws could do similar. Because Star Wars alone has mass appeal. Ubisoft games have mass appeal. Open
True.
world games have mass appeal. So you're putting all these things together, it's gonna garnish a huge audience. Um, but it's so big, and it's not like Ubisoft games don't often come with bugs, right?
Right,
I
yeah,
do
yeah.
think it could be buggy as fuck, not in a way that's like unplayable, but just in a way that's like it's going to take a couple of patches after release to get it perfectly
That's
to,
you know what that's nearly every game nowadays.
I know
Nearly
it's
every
nearly, yeah,
game has patches and a couple of
yeah.
bugs and stuff like that. So I just hope, yeah, it's not broken to hell, and even if people do give out about being buggy, that the team kind of sticks with it. Because I mean, you look at Cyberpunk 2077,
Man, yeah,
fucking disaster.
of a release, yeah.
Now it's absolutely praised as one of the fucking such a brilliant game.
Yeah.
So,
The cool thing about that one is, even when it launched, and I
mm,
remember because I bought it for you for
yeah,
Christmas,
yeah, yeah.
and I'd already had it, and then the reviews came out and all the stories and all, and I was like, oh god, and we were like covering it on the podcast, and I mean, I don't think Adam knew that I'd got it for you, and he was really like ripping into it, kind of thing, like he was going like, this is just, well, he was going off all the things he was hearing, I
Right,
suppose,
yeah, yeah.
reading. And I was trying my best to soften the blow because I'm like, I have to give this to Eric, and like, if we're gonna rip this apart, it's like, yeah, this is like this game is shit. Here you go, Merry Christmas. So I ended up buying you another present, another an amazing present. Actually, it was the Resident Evil 2
Yeah,
board
yeah.
game
Yeah,
because I was like, I can't bring Cyberpunk back, um, and so, but if it's really bad, I want you to have a good present. You ended up loving both of them, and
yeah, yeah, it was great.
you had this like foresight that, yeah, no, like I see the potential of Cyberpunk. It's going to be amazing. It even got a thumbs up from you right now.
It did. It did turn out like the
So
only
that
the
was
only
hilarious.
flaw I have with Cyberpunk 2077, which
Yeah,
is the same flaw I had since the announcement, was it being first person.
yeah, I know. Yeah,
But that's just a personal taste on first person games.
I spent so much money that Christmas.
You did.
I,
Thank you.
I was so worried.
Uh, yes, well, I hope Shadows and Outlaw are great.
Yeah, 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 I do too.
That was so cool. So
And
cool to
again, much like Assassin's Creed Shadows, I am keeping an eye on Star Wars Outlaws. It's not what I'm pre-ordering. It's not one that I'm like, yep, day one I'm
right.
buying it. But as we get closer, again, it is one that I could decide, yeah, fuck yeah, everyone's talking really good about this game. It's getting
Mm.
great reviews. Um, Digital Foundry have done their video and it seems to run great. Yeah, fuck it, I'm gonna jump into this new Star Wars adventure.
Are they coming day one Game Pass?
God no, no, no,
Okay.
no, no.
No, I was just wondering because I know with the Xbox One it was like, oh well, Star Wars
Ubisoft
wasn't
have
shown
their
at
own
us.
thing though, don't they? They have Ubisoft Plus, so they have their own subscription thing.
Do they?
That they're running on their own. Yeah, yeah. I think you can purchase that on PlayStation or on Xbox. And it's their
Okay.
own subscription for service, and all of Ubisoft games come to that day one. You know what? Might be worth seeing how much is a trial period, because usually these
Mm.
things come with a cheaper trial period.
Yeah.
Jump into these games, try them. If you love them, great. Then buy them, support them, or just keep the subscription like you could try it with Star Wars Outlaws. I think comes out in August, and Assassin's Creed Shadows comes out in November. If you try the trial, I don't know if there is one now, so don't quote me on this if there isn't, and maybe
Practically.
berate me. He practically confirmed it. But if there is one, it might be worth trying it for Star Wars Outlaws. If that's good, then keep it up for Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Mm.
Maybe. I don't
Could
know.
do.
I never
Could do.
tried the Ubisoft Plus thing, but I know they
That
did showcase that during the presentation as well.
Yeah. And then another thing that was released after it was in a developers direct
Hmm.
was the game which was on our radar, and we were always a bit like, not always, make it sound like as if since the day we were born we fucking knew about this game.
Yeah.
But when we first saw it, we were a bit like, okay, interesting. Looks a bit like a Souls-like, though. We'll need to see more.
Hmm.
And that was the gameplay trailer to Phantom Blade Zero,
Yeah.
where your man, the interviewer, I can't remember his name, but the interviewer was asking both of the people about the game, and it looks really cool, and it looks like there's a lot of good stuff to it,
Yeah.
and it looks awesome in the gameplay and everything like that. But it's it's like you're. I just really wanted your man to go like your man with Phil Spencer, like
Right.
give us a serious, like a more definitive answer on whether it's a Souls-like game.
Yeah. Stop beating around the bush here. Like, what is it? What
Yeah,
is it?
because they're saying it's like Devil May Cry.
They are.
But then you look at it, and you're like, it looks like a Souls-like though.
Yeah,
And what we mean by that is, like, is it hard? Are we going to die all the time? Like, is it like Demon Souls or is it like Jedi Survivor
yeah.
where it can be manageable? Which one
Well,
fucking is it?
I know I this is a game that got played a lot at Summer Game Fest, right? So for people to know as well, like what we see showcases, and in the last week there's been a lot of deep dives and interviews and stuff like this. And if you follow game journalists like Kind of Funny, Easy Allies, Min Max, all these guys who also have podcasts and stuff, they all got to actually go to Summer Game Fest,
Mm.
and then they got to privately play a lot of these games. Like they got to play demos for these games, and then they get to come back and share their thoughts on it. For the developers, this is an opportunity. This isn't like a, oh, you get to play the demo and then we put it out to the public. It's usually a, what are the common criticisms coming up amongst people who play games a lot,
Right. Yeah.
before the public ever see anything. Like, what can we fix? What can we change? All this kind of stuff. Phantom Blade Zero came up a lot. Like, other games that were played at it actually were Lego Horizons,
Mhm.
Astrobot Replaced, which we mentioned earlier, was actually there at Summer Game Fest, and people
Oh
got to
wow,
play
cool.
bits of it. The one of the horror games from Blumhouse Games, Follow the Spotlight. A lot of
Okay.
people were
Yeah.
praising the bejesus out of that. And yeah, there was just loads of so people should look them up. There was loads and loads and loads of games that people have actually got to play and talk about and all this stuff. But Phantom Blade Zero, yeah, was one of the really popular ones that everyone was talking about. But I know one of the guy, Andy Cortez, I think is his name, from the big Soulsborne guy and PC player from the Kind of Funny podcast. He said he described Phantom Blade Zero as an evolution of Soulsborne games.
Right. So
So
it is
he
Soulsborne then.
likened it more to a Soulsborne, but that if they can refine all the gameplay, then it's a more fluid version of that.
Right. Yeah. Because that's what it looked like to
That
me.
is what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Even the fact that when he was fighting that boss with the weird mace thing that also
Mm.
turned into a shield, there was a point where they turned the camera and behind him, behind the main character, was a fog wall, and I was like, is that part of the demo, or is
Yeah.
there actually a
Is that
fog wall?
actually? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then when he died the first time, there was a cut scene. He's fighting the enemy. The enemy killed him by I think decapitating him and collecting the head, which is a fucking really cool weapon.
Yeah.
And then when they reloaded it, he just ran straight into the fight. There was no cutscene again. It's like, well,
That's very Soulsborne.
that's the Soulsborne thing, is that they don't really waste time. You see the video once and then that's it. Um. So yes, now that you know that this is an evolution of a Soulsborne game, is
Mm.
this kind of being knocked down your radar now?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I still think aesthetically it looks amazing. I think the animations are fantastic. But it's not looking like a style of game that I personally would enjoy. But I do think it looks like a style of game that you would enjoy.
Yep.
And I could see you playing this
That and
day one.
Wukong.
The guy, I will say, Andy did from Kind of Funny, and I'm not saying that he's the definitive voice on this. Like, it's just that I heard him talk about it, and he's played it. But people should listen to other people to see what else other people are saying about it. He did liken it to Stellar Blade.
Okay.
He mentioned Stellar Blade and he mentioned Lies of P as comparisons. He put those three in the bracket of the evolution of Soulsborne genre.
Right. So I would see, because Stellar Blade actually has a difficulty setting.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make it easier. I don't know what Lies of P is like. I just heard that apparently it's amazing.
Yeah, people
But
say it's great.
I don't know what it's like in terms of difficulty and all that. But Stellar Blade is very manageable, like Jedi Survivor.
Mm.
Especially when you obviously put on the easiest difficulty.
Yeah, yeah.
That's actually Stellar Blade. Such a good game. So yeah, I'll probably get that, and I'll probably get the Black Myth Wukong, or Wukong Black Myth.
Yeah, which is coming soon. That's coming in
And
August.
that's also apparently Soulsborne.
Yeah.
There's all these great games that you're just not ever gonna play.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? It's that thing of I don't mind trying them out and seeing, but The price point that games are at, which I understand, and the industry has been suffering, and
Mm.
I do think it's important to support games. But you also have to make your own individual choices too. And it's like if you
Yes.
splash out on something and then you don't play it was a waste of money for you, you know?
Yeah.
So
And this is why I think demos are so important.
yeah, definitely, especially if it's not like a very like I don't think a Call of Duty ever needs a demo
That or
personally
FIFA, yeah, that or FIFA
because
or something, yeah.
it's a there's a formula and we already know what we're in for kind of thing. And I think if it's like
Mm.
an established formula that's actually what people are going in for, like they actually already like that gameplay.
Mm.
It's just that it's going to be a new experience. Then no, you don't need to do a demo. You know what I mean? Like an Uncharted 3 didn't need a demo,
No,
for example, because you've played Uncharted 1 and 2. Assassin's Creed Shadows doesn't need a demo.
no.
You know, realistically, it doesn't. However, yeah, something like Black Myth Wukong that's been showcased so many times as a very story-driven narrative adventure, and then people have been kind of unsure about, is it God of War like, is it Soulsborne like, and it's like, yeah, the more we see of it, it seems very clear that it's Soulsborne like, but it's like, but how much of it is
Is like
Soulsborne like?
Soulsborne, yeah.
So to clear up those questions, I think a demo would be useful to help them sell it to the right audience.
Yeah, because like Stellar Blade, not really on the radar. Played the demo.
I
I
think
fucking
that,
pre-ordered it.
yeah, I think that game sold based on that demo
Yeah, because people
for the most part.
understood now what the game is like,
Yeah,
what to expect from
yeah.
it. So yeah, like I think, and I've been saying fucking ages, like because a PS4 era, Xbox One era demos were so lacking,
Hmm.
which is why I think we bought less games, sort of in the PS4 era, because it
Right.
was like, I don't really know. I'll wait till it's a deal or something, or it's
Yeah, and that insurity can definitely stop you unless it's something that you're already in on or an IP that you already follow or
right, like
like we always
Last
want
of Us
new
Part
IP.
Two
Yeah, we always
or
want
something.
new IPs, but
Mm,
when we're not sure what to expect from it, it can be it's a lot to dish out on a taking a chance on something.
yes,
That's all I would say.
yeah, yeah. Was there any other you saw? There's another game where you saw gameplay too, a franchise that you're
Well, again, I've watched quite a few actually, and we
okay.
won't talk about all of them.
We won't
And
talk about
like
all of them, but the one like you and Adam have played these. I probably should get around to fucking play these games, which is
right,
Life is Strange. You and
yeah,
Adam
yeah.
love these games.
Yeah, yeah. This is one. So Life is Strange Double Exposure, it was showcased at the Xbox Showcase, and then again during the week there was a deeper dive into it. The gameplay to watch, it's not a good like. I don't think anyone's ever going to be sold on these games by looking at a gameplay overview, right? Because they're choice based games. Like you're walking around talking to people.
So it's almost like watching a gameplay trailer to like Detroit Become Human or
Yeah, it's
something
like
like
just
that.
like you gotta just put the controller in my hands. However, from playing the first Life is Strange and Life is Strange True Colors, I know what to expect. So
Hmm.
I know what I'm going in for. And what I'm going in for is the story and the vibes and kind of a cozy time, like a sit down, relax, play a game that's not too demanding and enjoy a kind of a Netflix adventure in my hands. Um this one I'm very excited for and it's a day one purchase for me because I already enjoyed the Life is Strange
Hmm.
series, and this is the kind. And it's coming out October 29th. I'm thinking of that time of year. It's dark outside, sitting down playing this kind of game set in winter. It's called Life is Strange Double Exposure, which is an interesting play on both photography, but also the fact that it's dealing with parallel dimensions or parallel timelines.
Hmm.
So Max Caulfield is back. She's the protagonist from the original Life is Strange. In that game, she had the ability to rewind time and would do
Hmm.
so to try and change terrible events.
Right.
That whole game was kicked, like, kind of the story launches with she witnesses the death of a girl in a bathroom.
Hmm.
She finds out she can rewind time and she stops that from happening. And it makes her realize she can do that in other scenarios. But the more she kept doing it, it brought on other effects. So it's a
Right.
and it had a very cool story and a great twist and a brilliant soundtrack. Really like indie alternative kind of soundtrack. They've all had that kind of vibe. Um, this one is being kind of promoted as a paranormal murder mystery or
Yeah, it's a very cool
supernatural
setting.
murder mystery, where a friend of hers named Safi, um, she finds her after being killed.
Hmm.
And the most interesting part of this overview actually was not the gameplay, because I just want to play it myself, but it was the interview, and them talking about the game, how it will, like, the original Life is Strange, Max Caulfield's adventure, has two endings.
Okay.
They said both are canon. I'm interested to see what that means, and I'm like,
Hmm.
is that because of now the dual timeline thing, and is it that it's split back then? Or are they just saying that you will have a choice in the game to decide which one happened? I don't know which one they mean,
Hmm.
but I'm curious
Interesting.
about it, right? Um, and then they said as well about the mysterious murder is that um, it it can't be explained. There's no footprints. There's no evidence. There's no like bullet from a gun. There's nothing to determine how this person was killed. Just that they were killed. Um, So it reminds me a little bit of like obviously it's going to have that Life is Strange vibes, but it reminds me a little bit of a Sherlock Holmes mystery. The whole someone
Oh,
died,
okay.
it seems unexplainable, but there will be an explanation. And in this case, the explanation might be supernatural. But
Hmm.
either way, there will be an explanation and it will all click. But at first, maybe it seems like it's like how, you know? So to me, that's just like an exciting premise. To play through, and I think visually it looks gorgeous. So yeah, I'm excited for
Did
this
you
one.
getting that day one?
Definitely, yeah.
PS5 or Xbox?
PS5. It's
PS5.
primarily where I play. Um,
Bro.
Xbox is probably going to continue to be my Game Pass machine, to be honest. So for the
Yeah,
Xbox
actually,
exclusives as well.
there's a question for just before we move on to our last this topic discussion.
Okay.
I am just gonna quickly ask you, Gears of War 6 or Gears of War E Day. We talked
Yeah,
about that. Obviously,
yeah,
we're both very excited for that game because it looks awesome.
100%.
Are you gonna buy it or just go, yeah, day one Game Pass? So
Definitely going to play it on Game Pass. However, if there is some fucking amazing deluxe or collector's editions, that kind of thing,
you get a hat, like.
if you get a hat for pre-ordering it, don't you kick me off. Yeah, if there's something really cool with the physical edition, then I'd like to have that.
Mm,
However, and it's that thing of like, it financially makes no sense for me
to
as an
buy it, yeah.
individual to buy the standard edition when I'm already paying for Game Pass and it's going to be there.
Yes. No,
And
no.
yeah, and then there is that. I mean, we've had this conversation 100 times about the knock-on effect on like the industry, and is that actually good? But
Mm,
as the consumer, it just makes no sense. So for me to buy the physical one, it would have to be a deluxe edition that comes with like, if it comes with like a soundtrack and an art book and that kind of stuff, then I might be like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I want to have that. It could
no.
even be a thing of I play I play it on Game Pass and fall in love with the game so much that I want to have a physical copy of it. It could even be that, but
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask. Just wondering,
yep, yep.
are you a real fan or not? Like, just
You gotta
no, I
support
kid.
it or
I
not.
joke, I joke. But anyway, last topic. You actually, interestingly enough, when you were
Mm.
talking about Life is Strange, you said it reminds you of kind of like a Netflix show.
Yes,
And this week, we're
yeah,
recording on a Friday,
yeah,
but this week, images were released from a
yeah,
Netflix show coming out later, set within the universe of Middle Earth, which is the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim.
yeah. Look at it. I'm actually wearing a Lord of the Rings
Oh,
T-shirt
are
right
you?
now.
Are
Look at
you?
that.
I'm not, so I can't join in. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I look at that. It had the
Yeah.
White Tree of Gondor for those listening on audio
Yes. So
platforms.
I saw the images for this.
Mm.
Right. I think there was like 4 or 5 images, and it's animated. So if you don't like animated, tough. Um, but I think the animation style looks awesome.
Yes.
I think the design looks really, really cool. Are you looking forward to that? Is that a thing you're
Yeah,
like?
yeah, yeah. War of the Rohirrim, it's called.
Yeah,
We've heard
War of
about this
Rohirrim.
for a long time. So it's been a long time coming actually for Lord of the Rings fans. Like I think we've been talking about this since before Rings of Power. Um,
Around the same time for sure. Yeah.
and I wonder, like I saw an article that it's coming to cinemas in December, but I wonder is that select theaters? Is that more of an American thing?
Yeah, it's
Would
gotta
it
be
be everywhere?
select theaters. Gonna be nine.
I'd love to go see it in cinemas.
Well, it's
Apparently,
coming to cinemas. That making it's a movie then, is it?
oh, it's a movie. Apparently,
Oh, I thought it was gonna be an
no, I
anime
think it's a
show.
movie, and I think Peter Jackson has been attached as executive producer, which makes sense. Um, and it's
Just get him and Philippa Boyens and all them to
absolutely just to put their names in the credits.
yeah,
Really,
yeah, yeah.
it'll just make people happy. Um, yeah, it'd be kind of like yeah, you have to see Kevin Feige's name in a Marvel project, whether he touched it or not. You know, whether he's
Yeah, yeah,
involved
yeah.
or not. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think it's set hundreds of years before the events of the
But
Lord of the Rings, so people should know it's not an animated retelling of like Rohan's perspective during the Lord of the Rings or anything. It's
no, it's
more
set during the rule of Helm Hammerhand, which, if you remember the books or movies, is the horn that Gimli blows one last time at the
amazing.
Battle of Helm's Deep.
Yeah,
So it's set during that time.
I'm
But
looking
I'm
forward to
interested.
a trailer.
Yes,
Yeah,
trailer. Hear whatever voices who's in it,
yeah,
and I'd like to know kind of actually what the plot is.
yes, yeah, yeah.
That'd be cool.
Who are we
That'd be
up
nice.
against? What's happening here? You
Yeah.
know, probably orcs, I imagine. But
Well, apparently in the four images, the villain was revealed.
oh, oh, okay. I think I saw three images. One of them being
Or
the
maybe it's three images.
female protagonist who looked cool and badass.
Mm.
I can't remember what this other name was. Um, I think it was Gaia, but then they might pronounce it differently,
Oh yeah.
or maybe that was the name of the voice actor. I don't know. I have no idea. Um, but she looked cool. The animation looked cool. But yeah, I don't know who the villain is in this.
I think they were saying because the three images, yeah. So there's the woman with the sword. She has it held outwards. Then it looks like there's an image where she's sitting beside Helm Hammerhand
Right.
on his throne. So I'm assuming she's probably like the daughter of Helm Hammerhand and his
Fucking
wife.
badass.
And then there was
Every time you
another
say that
image.
is amazing.
What?
Every time you just say Helm Hammer Hand, it's like you just can't say just Helm or whatever,
No, no,
or
no. If you
Lord
say
Hammer Hand.
Helm,
Like,
you just sound like
yeah,
you're
yeah, it's
talking
Helm
about a
Hammer Hand
helmet.
at all times.
Helm Hammerhand. And then I think there's a guy with black hair, really dark brown hair, and he had like a dark background to him, and he was also holding a sword. And I think that's supposed to be the villain.
Okay, okay,
Rumor has
maybe.
it. I don't know.
Okay, okay.
But that's coming out at some point.
December, I believe.
December. And then in November is season 2 of Arcane, which is
Oh, cool.
the
Yeah, yeah.
which is the last season.
Is it?
Yeah, that's the
They're
final.
only in 2 seasons.
Apparently, so that's going to be the final season.
I'm shocked. That was wildly
Popular.
popular. Yeah.
I would have like been happy even if they just did 3. 2 was very
Yeah.
sick. It's a
I'm
bit like
very surprised to hear that.
Carnival Row. Carnival Row is a show on Amazon Prime, and they only
Mm,
did 2 seasons. And it's actually not a bad show, but
very strange.
it gets to the end, and you're kind of like, huh, okay, you ended it there.
Very strange. But anyway, I'm sure they have their reasons.
That's the reasons. Anyway, so I'm looking forward to that. You ever watched season 1?
Of Arcane, I never have. No, I never have.
That's another one you have to add to the list.
I know there's so many things to try. Like it's so hard to be a fan of everything. I wish I was one of those people that only has like that one. You know, like those guys who are into fucking wrestling. I'm not into wrestling, and I'm not dissing wrestling. Like if you're into it, great. But you know, there's some people that like they're hardcore into wrestling. That's their thing. You know, they dress
Right,
for
yeah.
wrestling, they watch wrestling, they play the wrestling games, they collect the wrestling collectibles, they go see wrestling shows, they listen to the music that is from wrestling. Like
Yeah.
it's their whole thing, and they don't have to worry. And then everyone's like, "Oh, did you play the new whatever game?" It's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm a wrestling fan. That's all I do. I'm only into. I'm not
Not,
saying I'm not saying everyone who likes wrestling only likes wrestling, but I'm talking about the most hardcore.
I
Like,
know, but it sounds like a very lonely thing to me is to only have one interest.
I guess we're like jacks of all interests. You know what I mean? It's
We
like
dabble into a lot of
we
things.
dabble into a lot of things, and some more than others, but we're not like my whole life and my whole existence is this one thing.
That's true. That's true.
Um,
But if any of yous listening
Yeah, yeah.
are more masters of one thing rather than a jack of all things, let us know in the comments or touch base with us on social media at The Brothers Take by doing that on the old Instagrams and the Facebooks and the X's, whatever the kids use nowadays. We're not on TikTok. I don't know if TikTok is a thing that.
No, because that's the thing that the kids use.
Oh, right. Well, we're not on that because we're not kids.
we're on the things. We're on all the things for old people.
Yeah, we're old. We listen to dad music, play dad games.
Yeah, yeah.
So touch base with us on any of those social medias or leave a comment down in YouTube. So
Good
anyway,
times.
thank you all for joining us, and we'll see yous at the next shindig of whatever episode it is that we're going to record. All right,
See you in the next one.
Dalio.
Bye bye.